Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has relied on a delicate balance of economic, social, and environmental forces. A balance that, for centuries, has sustained empires and toppled nations. Today, this balance is on the brink of collapse. By 2040, the world as we know it may crumble. But how did we get here? What really brought us to this point? And is there anything we can do to avoid the abyss? Let's dive deep into this question, a journey that will take us from the dawn of civilization to the complexities of the present, and into the uncertainties of the future. To understand the threat we face, we must first look back to the origins of civilization. The agricultural revolution marked the first major economic leap for humanity. With it came private property, the first cities, and the creation of the first currencies. But with progress came inequality. The creation of agricultural surpluses allowed for the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, and thus began the formation of social classes. Ancient societies, like those of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Rome, thrived with this new structure, but they also began to face the seeds of their eventual downfall: inequality, over-exploitation of resources, and the centralization of power. As we moved into the Industrial Revolution, these patterns intensified. The relentless pursuit of profit led to the rampant exploitation of natural resources, and the world entered an era of exponential growth, but at what cost? Industrialization brought a new wave of inequality, this time between nations. European imperialism in the 18th and 19th centuries not only plundered colonies around the world but also exported the problems that had been generated at home: environmental destruction, labor exploitation, and growing social discontent. Visionary economists like Adam Smith, Karl Marx, and John Maynard Keynes saw the dangers of unchecked capitalism. Smith, in his seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, believed in a natural balance of markets but also warned of the risks of monopolies and uncontrolled greed. Marx, on the other hand, predicted that capitalism would eventually self-destruct, crushed by its own internal contradictions, such as worker alienation and extreme wealth concentration. Keynes, a witness to the Great Depression, proposed government interventions to stabilize volatile economies and save capitalism from its own excesses, but even he could not foresee the complexity of the modern global economy. The 20th century began with the promise of unlimited progress, a promise that seemed to be fulfilled as the world wars devastated economies but also gave rise to new paradigms of reconstruction and global cooperation. However, this golden age of capitalism came with a dangerous dependence on finite resources, particularly oil, which became the lifeblood of the global economy. The obsession with economic growth became an unquestionable doctrine, driven by mass consumption, easy credit, and the promise of endless prosperity. The 1970s brought a grim warning. The MIT study, commissioned by the Club of Rome, used the World 3 model to predict that unchecked growth would lead to a global collapse by the mid-21st century. The study, known as the limits to growth, projected that if consumption and population growth trends continued unabated, the Earth would not be able to sustain civilization as we know it for much longer. Few heeded the warning, and those who did were largely ignored or ridiculed as alarmists. The turn of the 21st century ushered in a new era of global connectivity. Globalization promised wealth for all, and the Internet began to connect people in unimaginable ways. However, financial crises, especially the one in 2008, revealed the system's fragility. The bursting of the housing bubble in the United States not only ruined millions of lives but also triggered a global financial crisis that exposed systemic flaws in our economy. Governments around the world responded with bank bailouts and austerity policies, but the damage was done. Trust in the traditional financial system was shaken, and inequality, already on the rise, deepened further. This environment of distrust and social dissatisfaction paved the way for the rise of populist movements worldwide, questioning elites and calling for radical changes. Growing dissatisfaction with the status quo created fertile ground for disruptive innovations, among which emerged a technology that promised to reshape the very concept of money, Bitcoin. In 2008, while the world was still reeling from the financial crisis, an individual or group under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper that would change the course of history: Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This creation was not just a new currency but a radical proposal for a new economy. Based on an innovative technology called blockchain, Bitcoin promised to solve trust and transparency issues that plagued traditional financial systems. Blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger technology where each transaction is recorded in blocks and securely linked to the previous block. This creates a chain of blocks, or blockchain, that is immutable and accessible to all, offering an unprecedented level of transparency and security. The innovation was met with skepticism by many, but it soon began to attract attention due to its disruptive potential. Bitcoin's history is marked by dramatic highs and lows. In the early years, few took the currency seriously. It was traded for mere cents, and its main application seemed to be in dark web markets. However, over time, Bitcoin began to gain traction, especially after the financial crisis, when people started losing faith in central banks and fiat currencies. In 2013, Bitcoin's value soared, reaching levels that few could have predicted. This attracted a new wave of investors and speculators, creating the first major cryptocurrency bubble. As Bitcoin paved the way, other cryptocurrencies emerged, each with its own proposals and innovations. Ethereum, for example, introduced smart contracts, which are self-executing programs that operate exactly as they were configured by their creators, without the possibility of fraud or third-party interference. This opened up a new world of decentralized applications, dApps, and decentralized finance, DeFi, revolutionizing how we view money and financial services. However, this new digital economy is also a double-edged sword. Initial coin offerings, ICOs, emerged as an innovative way for startups to raise funds but quickly became fertile ground for fraudulent schemes. Millions of dollars were raised and, in many cases, vanished without a trace, leaving investors ruined. The bubbles and scams created an atmosphere of distrust but also highlighted the need for regulation and better practices in the cryptocurrency space. On the other hand, cryptocurrencies continue to offer unique opportunities for those who can navigate this new and volatile market. The decentralization of financial power and the democratization of access to banking services worldwide are just some of the promises that this new system can fulfill, especially in regions where traditional financial systems have failed. Countries like El Salvador, for instance, adopted Bitcoin as an official currency, seeking to escape the pitfalls of traditional currencies and the influence of major central banks. Each year, the cryptocurrency market becomes more complex and diversified. New projects and technologies emerge, such as NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which allow digital ownership of unique items, creating a new paradigm for art, collectibles, and even digital real estate. At the same time, decentralized finance, DeFi, offers alternatives to the traditional banking system, allowing anyone, anywhere, to access financial services without intermediaries. This new digital frontier is being shaped by a combination of technological innovation, entrepreneurial enthusiasm, and, yes, rampant speculation. However, as we move forward, we must learn from the mistakes of the past. Previous economic bubbles, from the tulip mania in the 17th century to the dot-com bubble in the late 1990s, have taught us that unchecked euphoria can lead to ruin. History shows us that without a solid foundation of value and utility, markets can collapse as quickly as they rise. The challenge now is to balance innovation with prudence, harnessing the potential of cryptocurrencies and blockchain while mitigating the risks. We stand at a crossroads. Cryptocurrencies could be the catalyst for a new era of economic prosperity, where power is distributed more equitably and transparency is the norm. Or they could be the spark that ignites financial chaos, leading to a new form of collapse, this time fueled by technology. The path we choose will determine the future of the global economy and the role that cryptocurrencies will play in it. As the world approaches 2040, the urgency to find solutions to the economic and environmental challenges we face has never been greater. History teaches us that civilizations can collapse under the weight of their own contradictions, but it also shows us that humanity is capable of adapting and innovating in the face of adversity. We can continue on our current path, ignoring the warning signs and rushing toward collapse. Or we can choose a new path, where the economy serves human well-being and the environment, rather than just profit. The digital revolution, including cryptocurrencies, offers both challenges and opportunities. If used wisely, they can help build a more just and resilient economy. But if abused, they can lead us into chaos. It is in this scenario of uncertainty and potential that today's choices will shape tomorrow's world. Those who can understand the complexity of this new financial world and act with vision and responsibility will have the chance to thrive in a future that, for many, is still an unknown territory. Now, more than ever, we need visionary leaders, bold economic policies, and a global commitment to sustainability and equity. Time is running out, but history is still being written. What will our legacy be? The future is still in our hands. You who watch this video are part of history. Change begins with awareness and continues with action. Subscribe, share this video, and join us on this journey to shape a better future. Because collapse is not inevitable, it is simply a path we can choose to avoid. This video, more than an analysis, is an invitation for us to reflect together on the role each of us plays in building tomorrow. History is alive, and it is being written now, by every decision we make. Let's choose the path that leads us not to collapse, but to renewal, to justice, and to a future where innovation and humanity walk hand in hand, in harmony with the planet and future generations. We are all together on this journey, and what we do with the knowledge we acquire today may very well determine the course of history.